It's the only person below White Holiday in the ComicsGate phone book. It's my favorite failed clone of Peter Sammetti. The YouTube WyzGyz. How you doing, Conrad? Welcome to the show.
Hello. Welcome to WyzGyz Entertainment. This is your host, Wyman. Welcome the one and only Mike Murphy, who resides in Deepwell, by the way. How's it going?
Yeah, I do. It's going good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's been too long. I know we've been having some scheduling issues trying to get you back onto the channel, and if I'm not mistaken, based on my searches, this is the first time we're getting a chance to actually promote your other book. So we've been pushing Deepwell. We've been pushing Deepwell heavy, but we're just now going to be able to get a chance to cover The Gods Fear Me, book 1.
Yeah, man. So I first started getting to know you around when we first launched Deepwell. So that was the bulk of the promotion, man. But this is, The Gods Fear Me was a follow-up to Samurai and Dinosaurs. And, we hit a bump in production, but, it's all good now. I just got the last of the pages in from Christian.
Sweet.
So, it's double timing on coloring and formatting, and hopefully first week of February we'll be off to the printers.
Ooh, cool. I'm real excited about Deepwell for sure. And this other book also looks cool, The Gods Fear Me, book 1. Let me throw
Thanks, man. Yeah.
a link in here, by the way. And I wanted to welcome El Gargoyle. Thanks for sharing the eggplant. Or I think there was another name for it too, but the name escapes me.
Yeah. Hey, El Gargoyle.
Very, very cool. Since it's been so long since we've had a chance to get you on, would you mind taking a few minutes, maybe go into your origin story, how you even, how you grew up to eventually, or how you were raised, what you were into when you were younger, and how that ultimately contributed to you coming out with crowdfunded comics.
So, okay, let me way to recap everything. All right, so I grew up always being into pop culture, but I was mostly superhero and movies, and drawing. I guess even since I was I was single-minded and very stubborn, and drawing comics was just like when I put 2 and 2 together and realized, like, oh, people like do this, they make these things. It doesn't just pop up out of thin air. That was what I wanted to do with my life. And it got as far as going to the American Academy of Art in Chicago, which is where Alex Ross, the Mortal Kombat guys, the like Coca-Cola and Quaker Oats guys, like all these famous commercial illustrators, they all went to this school.
Nice.
And what I quickly figured out was I was a competent illustrator, but I was incredibly slow. And so that's why, working freelance these days, like there are clients I take on who hire me for illustration work, but it's nothing as comprehensive or time consuming as sequential art. It's greeting card stuff. It's, production design, it's character design, it's world building stuff. So that's my day job. And, it's one part I'm faster as a writer, and it's also one part I think I'm better as a writer than as an artist. So that's just kind of how the chips, fell. And as far as like how we got into crowdfunding, so the story that I always tell is, for the better part of a decade, Selena and I would put together submission packages and like just kind of press the flesh and rub shoulders with like everyone in comics out here, on the West Coast and specifically in Portland. And it it didn't feel like we were getting any closer to the mountain, so to speak. And our breaking point was in 2018 when we took a meeting with IDW, and it quickly became apparent that um, if we were to play politics and say all the right things, if we were lucky enough to like get a project from them, it wasn't going to pay nearly anything. It the rate that I was quoted would have barely been enough to cover like one or two of our bills for the month, let alone like rent and just living. And so that night after that meeting, like I had been aware of diversity in comics, and I was watching Ethan build up his channel, and I'm sitting there watching. It was one of the early live streams, and I'm sitting there watching all these guys enjoy themselves, enjoy their company, and actually do what they want to be doing. Now, sure, they had the high price tag of like all the like lynch stuff coming after them, but they were still doing what they loved on their own terms. And I just had this moment of like, what are you doing? Like, you're trying to get into a party that doesn't want to let you in. So, Selena and I talked, and we decided even if it cost, some work opportunities, which that's how naive we were. We thought it was just going to be work opportunities, that we were going to jump into the deep end with ComicsGate. And it's professionally, it's worked out incredibly. Like we've met a whole bunch of new peers. We're on our third campaign, our fourth campaign, launching in the spring of this year. But personally and professionally, it cost us everything. Like all of our contacts with the mainstream, a good percentage of our friends and family. But I mean, hey, like, if you're going to play the game, like sometimes this is what happens, right?
Right. When you just want to take a moment to welcome Christopher John. Thank you. Hello, how's it going?
Hey, Christopher.
So rewinding a bit, would it be fair to say that your day job is a concept artist?
Yeah, I mean when you work freelance, the analogy uses, it's kind of like Cowboy Bebop. You kind of take whatever job comes your way, and that's what you do for a living that week. In the past, in the past, I've designed like artisanal light switch covers for like this multi-millionaire, crafting woman who lived out in like the hills of the rich area of Portland. I had a guy hire to draw 1,000 motorcycles to help him launch like a motorcycle parts repair website.
Wow.
It's yeah. I mean, yeah, it's crazy, man. And again, like when you work freelance, you're just kind of all over the place. It's whoever gets in touch with you and whatever pays decently.
Gotcha. So when you went full bore into ComicsGate, did you kind of keep the phrase ComicsGate like hush in the beginning, and just tell friends and family and peers, hey, we're going out on our own, we're going to go into crowdfunding? Or did you just straight up say, we're ComicsGate? Ta-da!
No, even even at that early stage, like this would have been like late 2018. Even at that early stage, I was noticing that there were certain creators who were trying to ride the fence. Um, you know, they wanted the audience and the exposure that came with being on some of these streams. Not even necessarily like Ethan, but like any stream skate. Wanted the exposure and the audience, and you know, obviously the backers and the money, but they didn't want to commit to what ComicsGate represented, both you know in positive and negative terms. And we talked and we were like, hey, like if we're gonna do this, there's no fence sitting, there's no like you know going in half cocked. Like if we're doing this ComicsGate thing, we have to use the hashtag. We have to say yes, we are ComicsGate. We believe in what it is that ComicsGate is trying to accomplish. And I mean, even today, like 2+ years later, we still do. Like every time I promote one of our projects, the hashtag is 99% of them in there.
Hell, yeah. And oh, all right, there you go. Every now and then it seems like you freeze momentarily, but then it starts responding again. So
Yeah, I noticed that too.
So it's like, let me see here. Now I've heard about people, families having lively debates when people within the family have differing political views. But
sure.
have you actually? It sounded like you might have had some falling outs in family members from you guys going ComicsGate.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So specifically, like, here's what's up. We, you know, like when I say family, we had friends, one of which had been a friend for 20 years, and two others who had been friends at that point for like 10+ years. So while they may not be blood relatives, like they were as close as Selena and I had to family.
Yeah, I know.
You know, without getting into too much like
Doxing. Yeah, you
I'm
don't.
kind of a, yeah. I mean, without getting too into it, like I'm kind of estranged from my family, especially on my dad's side. And Selena like has issues with like multiple family members. So and most of our family lives either out in Vegas or in Chicago. So we don't really have anyone out here to begin with. So, you know, these people I'm specifically referencing weren't just people that we had known for like decades, but they were literally family to us. And it was a weird thing to all of a sudden have them go radio silent. And then, you know, when I kind of press the issue and force like a confrontation, to have them get into this whole thing like, well, we can't be associated with, you know, anyone or anything, you know, that has to do with ComicsGate. And, you know, what if like you start bringing this stuff home and blah blah blah. And it was I know.
Oh my gosh, that's like mind blowing.
Yeah.
What?
And keep in mind, this was just after we had Clark. So when we need kind of a support structure the most, that's when they're like, hey, we're out.
Oh my gosh, yeah. When
Yeah.
there's a new baby in the family, damn, that's
Right.
when people should be rallying together. Not
Tell me about it.
Not just, oh damn, that's wrong. I mean,
it was
are these like friends / family, literal peers in the comic book industry, or Is it one of those cases where they went to the internet, they did a search on Wikipedia for ComicsGate, and got misled by the little excerpt saying that we're white supremacists crying little man babies in their mother's basements?
Right. It was a bit of both. They all kind of work on the periphery of comics. One of them works in the tabletop RPG industry. So it was this thing of they were certainly aware of what ComicsGate was, but they were aware of it through the filter of like all the traditional like biased left-leaning sites that report this stuff
In mainstream, yeah.
Yeah, and so I like a year goes by, and so this would have been like mid 2019. I reached out to one of them trying to be an adult, and I'm like, hey, this is stupid. Like let's hash out what's going on over like coffee or something and see if there's anything that can be salvaged here. And it was funny to have a conversation with a person who I knew to be very intelligent. I mean, when it came to like social and political stuff, we didn't always see 100% eye to eye, but creatively, I thought they were very intelligent and very talented. And so it was weird to hear all of these like generic talking points that had no facts or intelligence behind them coming out of who I knew to be a smart person, to the point where when I brought up like, hey, like first off, there are no white supremacists or anything like that. Like,
Yeah,
and you realize like, yeah. And like, you realize like, I'd say easily like a quarter to maybe even half of the people associated with CG aren't even white. Like, not that matters, but they're not even white. And he, without stating it outright, he basically implied that all those people were like Uncle Toms. And I'm like, you realize you're basically implying that goes for my wife as well, because she's Mexican. Like a person who has had you into her home and cooked for you and like done for you. That's what you're saying about her because she's not quote unquote, going along with right thing.
That's kind of unbelievable to me. I mean, yeah, if they're on the peripheral of the comics industry, then it does make some sense. But still, so many years of history together, having that
and
bond, or what you thought was a close bond, only to unravel because of this.
Yeah. And the other person that I mentioned that like there was like a 20-year history with, like I practically consider that guy a brother, and there were other factors that went into like what happened between us, but the point still remains like all three of these people pretty much within I'd say 6 to 9 months of each other just kind of like cut themselves out of our life. So it was a tough adjustment, but I mean, like 2 years later, I can't say that I would have changed anything, because ultimately, if they were willing to duck out over something like this, like they weren't really family,
Right. That's true. That's absolutely true. Welcome, Edwin. The Ace launches January 31st.
Hey, Ace. How's it going, man?
Hail, peeps. Christopher John, hail, Ace. Welcome, Eric McIntyre. Hey, peeps. And welcome, Squad Leader 3590. Hello.
Hey.
Welcome, guys. So refresh us on what you'd consider your skill set to be. You're obviously a storyteller. Are you into the pencils, the art? I mean, inks, colors, lettering?
Sure. Well, again, when it comes to running the company, I'm almost exclusively a writer. Like, I'm doing well, at this point, I'm coloring uh, spot illustrations for the novella that comes as a prequel with The Gods Fear Me. But almost exclusively, I'm just a writer. But when it comes to my day job, again, like um, I can do graphic design. I can do sequential art, although it's slow and not a lot of people outside of comics have a need for it unless it's like a storyboard thing. Um, and yeah, like mostly I do illustrations, pinups, and some graphic design / layout. Like that's most of my work outside of CG.
Good deal. Good deal. Let's check this out. So we've got The Gods Fear Me, Book One, and
Hmm.
as we touched on earlier, uh, we crossed paths when you were promoting Deepwell. And
Right.
so every time I had you on, we covered Deepwell, promoted that book. But you have this book here, The Gods Fear Me, Book One. Androids and
Hmm.
aliens battle across the wastelands of Earth for the fate of all mankind. And it's 32 pages long. How long did it come? How long did it take to come up with the concept of The Gods Fear Me?
Um, Honestly, a good couple years, man. Like somewhere between 5 and 6 years. It wasn't it wasn't as long of a development process as Deepwell was, but basically, circa 2014 or so, we had put together The Gods Fear Me as a submission package. Like I was saying, for the better part of a decade, Selena and I were just doing submissions. Um, so we had put together a submission packet for The Gods Fear Me. We hired a different artist to Christian Rossi here. We hired a different artist to do like the better part of an entire issue, and that that never really went anywhere. The closest it got was it was under consideration for serialization in heavy metal, which would have
Oh,
been cool. Yeah, but what ended up happening around that was when the editorial changed up because Grant Morrison was taking over as the EIC.
oh,
Yeah, and so like I know that there was like a bunch of staff that were let go. Some people went on hiatus and never came back, some did. The guy that was, in charge of looking over our stuff, he went on hiatus and just never took his job back.
huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So by the by the time Morrison was in charge and kind of had his new vision and direction for the magazine. Like this wasn't even an afterthought, and
Man.
ultimately, I'm fine with that because when I look back at that first version of the book, like it wasn't done cooking. The artist wasn't 100% done developing, and the plot and characters and everything else about the book on my end like wasn't done cooking. So we just kind of let it sit in a drawer for a while, and you know I I read Trespasser from Alterna and just kind of fell in love with Christian's work. And I don't know why, like my mind just started drifting to him kind of realizing this world. And Peter got me in touch with him, and thankfully things worked out, and I revamped the whole thing for him from the ground up, and I
Damn.
think it's exactly what it needs to be these days.
Wow, that's sweet. Welcome. What about ahoy, one and all?
Hey, what about?
Now, when in that revamping,
Mm-hmm.
can you think of some key changes you made in the story, or is the story pretty much still wholly intact?
I'd say the base of the story is wholly intact. You know, Lovecraftian aliens invade Earth, destroy 70% of mankind. What's left of humanity goes into, you know, cryogenic slumber. Um, and a line of androids are manufactured that kind of roam the wastelands of Earth, you know, trying to destroy these alien invaders. And our story opens up 200 years down the line. Like that baseline is still there. But a lot of the finer details have been altered. Like in this version, Kedzie, our android, comes into contact with Brian, who is a boy that's been ejected from his cryostasis, you know, kit prematurely, and he shouldn't be out in the world, and you know he's not really being affected by the insanity that comes with these elder gods being on Earth. So he's kind of like the boy that shouldn't exist,
Hmm?
and and so you know that's where we're at now. In the original version, Brian was actually a middle-aged guy with amnesia, and she was kind of his guide through this world. So that whole aspect of the book like was just cut out completely.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
interesting. So when you launched, do you remember still what your initial funding goal was?
Yeah, it was 6,000. You know, we tried to keep all of our campaigns at 6,000. You know, Deep Well was 6,000, and uh I'm debating with the Red Key this spring what our goal is going to be, but it's probably going to be 6K. It may be 8K just because we need some extra padding because of the scope of what we're trying to do with the Red Key.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, like we like keeping our campaigns as lean as possible, and the way we do that is we budget out enough for the artist, and we budget out enough for printing and production and fulfillment, and anything on top of that usually gets filtered into the book itself or the next project.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how do you mean by filtered back into the book? Are you talking about releasing sequels down the road?
Well, well, no, s- well, in as much as like some of the leftover residuals will go towards like paying for preview art for the next book. So, you know, if there's anything left when we're done fulfilling book one, so you know, some of that money will go towards, you know, paying Christian to do like 3 pages for the next campaign, which will be
Okay.
like towards the end of summer. Um, but you know, it can also mean like, hey, you know, like I want to include a bonus pinup, and I've got an extra X amount of money, so I can hire X artist to do that bonus pinup, and we don't have to do it as a stretch goal. You know, stuff like that.
Hmm. All right, gotcha. Yeah, I had intended on getting involved with this sooner and helping promote it while it was in. Did you guys do a pre-launch on this one, where you have your collected email addresses for up to 6 months?
No, the first time we did that was with Deepwell, and
Okay,
we're definitely going to be doing it again with Red Key. Like that should
nice.
the Red Key sign up should be going up like before the end of this month.
Oh, cool. Very
Yeah.
nice.
But yeah, God's Fear Me, if I'm remembering right, we launched, you know.
And now, let's see. Do I have this right? God's Fear Me came first and then Deepwell, or vice versa?
Yeah, yeah, that's correct.
All right.
Um, Yeah, we wrapped up Samurai and Dinosaurs, and we launched The Gods Fear Me around the time that Samurai and Dinosaurs was at the printer. So the campaign itself has been up for a year, and fulfillment was supposed to be, well, it's listed as April of last year, but we let our backers know that it was more realistic to expect it in July. But you know, last year happened, and
Yeah,
I hate
2020 happened.
and yeah, like without getting super into it, like there was a production hiccup that meant that we had to push things back a good like 5 or 6 months. So here
Oh
we are.
wow.
Yeah. No one's fault, but again, like these campaigns are, my name's on them, so I take full responsibility, and I've done my best this whole time to keep backers updated and let them know what's going on. So thankfully, we have some amazing supporters and readers, and they've understood every step of the way what's going on. I've provided updates and art reveals every time that I was able to. So
Nice.
it's not a case of like just dropping off the face of the earth. Like work was being done on the book little by little.
Yeah. And then that's very important with any campaign, keeping your backers in the
Right.
loop. And by doing so, it adds to your credibility and your transparency. And
Yeah.
it allows your backers to have more faith in you. And
Right.
as many creators find, this community is very forgiving and understanding
Mm-hmm.
as long as you're
Mm-hmm.
straight with them. So that was the
Yeah,
good.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like what I've said this whole time is, since I'm basically just the writer and the publisher, a lot of the actual production of the book is kind of out of my hands, aside from like me saying like, hey, how is such and such work going? Um, and I'm grateful that, especially the more projects we get into, our audience is receptive to the idea of like, hey, if you're okay with this production model of like one book in fulfillment and one book funding, um, if we can keep that going, I can put out like 3 books a year, and people have been receptive to that, and we're definitely grateful for it.
Now, would you attribute the success of The Gods Fear Me in terms of its funding? Would you attribute it to the reputation you got from fulfilling Samurais and Dinosaurs?
I'd say so, yeah. Like a lot of people were definitely open to the concept. We we had some issues early on with certain anti people trying to sabotage the campaign a little bit. But luckily that didn't get too much traction, and we were able to recover. Um, but yeah, like it was one part, we were building a good reputation for ourselves. It was another part, like people, I just dug the idea. Like the more I promoted it, the more I kind of explained what was happening with these pages and like the world that I was trying to build with Christian. We found our audience, man.
Yeah, really sweet. The initial funding goal was 6,000. You surpassed that. Uh, you're presently at 14,610, which is sweet, for 357 backers.
Yes.
It would be really cool if we can get you to 15K and 360 backers. When you set this campaign up, did you
Mhm.
break it into what is often done in ComicsGate, where you do two 30-day rounds of funding before going in demand?
No, I mean, as we build our audience and as our books uh begin to earn more, like once we start breaking the 20K uh the 20K ceiling. And I'm confident we can achieve that, especially in 2021. Once we start breaking that total, then I'll start considering having the campaign go for an extra 30 days before we hit in demand. But the reality is, hiring talent purely off of what we earn from the campaign means as soon as we hit our goal, like, I have to get the artists to work, and that means going in demand after that first 30 days.
Oh.
Um,
Oh. Okay.
so yeah, like, I mean, I don't want to jinx myself, but I have a very good feeling about the Red Key and what we're building with that. So if we are lucky enough to break 20K before the end of that first 30 days, I'll definitely consider extending it another 30.
Oh. Okay. So thus far, you've been doing a 30-day funding campaign, and then when it gets fully funded and you've got the money to pay the talent, then you go immediately in demand after the first 30.
Right. Yeah, and from there we just focus on stretch goals.
Wow. All right. So that's like a third option that I hadn't really seen done. Usually either you do 2 30s and then you go in demand, or you pull off a mail-in and you do I guess you're doing 30 days of funding, but you never go in demand. And then there are some people who do, especially people new to CG or the CG friendly, they'll oftentimes just shoot for a single 60 days of funding and then consider whether to go in demand. Right. So there are different approaches for sure.
Yeah, there are. And I mean, this is what's worked for us. And, again, until we're at that point where, we're pulling in way higher than what we are, this is just how it is.
Right. I don't know if you can share, and if it's out of bounds, feel free to just tell me to shut up. Okay. Is your wife also? I know she does like chibi work. Is she like
yeah?
Is she like a key partner in these books that you are releasing? Samurais and Dinosaurs, Deep Well, The Gods Fear Me.
Yeah, absolutely. The company is half hers. She's co-publisher. And same thing, like, she's a freelance illustrator as well, but she has an active investment in this company. We go over everything together. It's like working with any other partner. Like, we try to put on our business hats whenever we have to have company meetings, so that it doesn't like become like a relationship thing, or like me versus you.
Right.
And like, she has a say in what artists we get for what project, and she's actively involved in like how the books take shape. Like, she's one of the first people that I show a completed script to. And yeah, like, she's going to eventually be publishing her own work. It's just, again, now that we have a kid, the way it's playing out is like, when we're not doing our freelance work, I do stuff like this and she watches Clark. So that kind of eats into her schedule a little bit.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So do you figure down the road, as your child grows to, well, more or less become more independent, I guess,
right,
and require less close supervision, that you and your wife are going to like get more involved in the illustration of it, maybe even do some sequentials,
Yeah. Yeah.
Include more, maybe some prints or pinups or the
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, like so one of the things that we did, and what was weird, again, 2020, one of the weirdest things about last year was there being no free comic day, because
Oh yeah.
FCBD, yeah, like FCBD is like one of our favorite days of the year. We always do two different signings at two different stores here in Portland, and
Oh,
we
neat.
put out, yeah, and we do sketches for kids and stuff, but the main thing about FCBD is we had a long running mini comic that we would put out just on FCBD called For Hire, and
Oh,
that was,
cool.
yeah. It was kind of a mix between Calvin and it was Calvin and Hobbes filtered a bit through Pixar. Um,
Oh, that sounds like a trip. Oh man.
yeah, man. So we would like to reboot that and do something more concrete, because one of the things that Selena has discussed on her own and with a couple other people over the past 2 years is, there's definitely a market and a subsect of CG that is hungry for kid-friendly content.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, for sure.
and that's not something that you see a ton of, and there should be more of. So yeah, she would definitely, in the next, like, call it 2 to 3 years, she would definitely like to capitalize on that a bit more.
Heck yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, man.
Um, so let's play this trailer. Let's check it out.
Yeah, man, thank you.
That's cool.
Thanks, man.
So the due to the production delays on uh, the Indiegogo quote unquote store is
Mhm.
still open, right? This is considered what you guys mean by the store, right?
Yeah. So the Gods Fear Me has had a wild ride, man. Like I listed in the trailer, we were supposed to shut down for good the day before New Year's, and I was doing heavy promotion that whole week, and I think it was the night that I was on with Raging Golden Eagle. Um, like an hour or two afterwards, someone who I was supposed to be on the following day with they wrote to me and they're like, "Do I have the wrong campaign? Because it says it's closed." And I checked, and sure enough, like this campaign was listed as closed. And I'm like, "Well, I didn't do it." So, and obviously this is right before New Year's, so I couldn't reach out to anyone because they were probably all out of the office.
Right.
So that kind of like gummed up like all the plans that I had for that remaining week. And yeah, like 2 days after New Year's, someone finally reached out to me from Indiegogo, and they explained that it was a hiccup in their system. There was nothing malicious. There was nothing wrong with the campaign. And so they got it active, and that's why I'm spending this week, promoting it as much as I can before we finally shut down for good this Sunday.
Wow, this Sunday. Oh my gosh. That doesn't give us much time, people. Back this book if you haven't already. We only have till Sunday. Sunday.
And like you were saying, I would love to hit 15K because that's when we unlock square binding for the book. So if we can get there, you'll be getting an even nicer edition of this book.
Now, is square binding another name for perfect bound?
Yeah.
Okay. So right now it's stapled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right now it's just a standard comic.
All right. Yeah, let's get this into perfect bound by getting this up to 15K. Share it on social media. Be sure and back it. Mm-hmm. It's definitely a cool looking book. And if you've already backed it, consider backing it again.
Yeah, as Malin says, back once, back twice, back often.
Yep. Let's see, 32-page post-invasion sci-fi horror epic set hundreds of years after the fall of the human race.
Mm-hmm.
So you're the author, as you mentioned, the storyteller, Mike Murphy, and Christian, is it Rossi or Rossi?
Rossi.
And all copies will be signed. That's sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was watching the video and I'm checking out the artwork is pretty sweet.
Yeah, man. So our two covers I absolutely love. The main one is by Donald DeLay, and as always, our alternate cover is by Bess Preston. So
Bess Preston, I love it.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that's very cool.
And yeah, this was actually how I first got to know Preston, because he, like I said, there was a weird middle point where like the campaign was kind of getting attacked, and we were struggling a little bit to like reach our goal, and all of a sudden I get this like gorgeous pinup of the Puppet King, and this guy is just like, "Hey, use this for whatever you want. I hope it helps." And that's how I got to know Preston. And so just from then I'm like, well, you're our guy. Like what are you talking about? Use this for whatever. Like, this is a cover, man. It's gorgeous.
Absolutely. So this one that we're looking at now, this is the Donald DeLay one?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And then scrolling down. This one right here is Preston Acevedo, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
Work in progress, not final.
And yeah, like so people have asked about that over the course of the year. When I say work in progress, I'm talking about like the trade dress, like the design of the actual cover. The main image itself is going to be black and white in pencil, just like the Deepwell alternate cover.
Oh wow, black and white in pencil.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so we have this really cool thing where like there's Donald's gorgeous line art and the neon coloring that I put under it, and I think the bare bones pencil cover, you know, kind of complements it perfectly.
Man, this is freaking wicked. This is so cool.
Man.
Yeah, he is so good.
Absolutely.
And he's a great person too.
He is, man. He's the best.
Let's see. So you got Rossi doing the pencils, inks, and interiors, basically. Does Rossi do the lettering?
No, so Adam AF is doing the lettering, and I'm doing the coloring.
Okay. Oh, all right. Nice.
Yeah.
Is everyone on your team doing digital, or are any of you doing traditional?
Rossi hand drew the pages, which is helpful because some of the pages sold. So yeah, like these are all hand drawn.
Ah, nice. And it looked like well, Preston's is hand drawn.
Oh, yeah, and Preston's is hand drawn too. Yeah.
Looks like a kraken. Yeah, these interiors are cool.
Yeah, man. It's I can't wait for people to read this book because some of the later pages, which I can show for spoiler reasons, are some of the best work I've seen from Christian. I may be biased.
Edwin says, my cousin does great work.
Yes.
Now, is it all right? Call me stupid, but are they literally cousins, or is that like an inside joke?
Edwin, what's the ruling on that?
Back it today. I want to see this hit 15K today, if possible. So share it on social media too. The link.
Yeah. I'm at this point, you know, I would be thrilled clearing 15K. We had some ambitious stretch goals planned for this book, and I think some of them are just going to have to get like folded into future campaigns. We had this crazy idea where if we hit 18K, I was going to hire Canales to draw an entirely separate book that had nothing to do with God's Fear Me called 13. That might have to be its own project for the future at this point.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to work with Canales before?
No, I mean, you know, I'm dying to. Like, we've talked a lot about it. You know, again, he agreed to do this like a year ago if we hit 18K.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, we would both like to, man. It's just you know, he is a very busy man, and this year it's looking like I'm going to be very busy, so it might be another year or two before we get the chance to work together.
Gotcha. The million eyes of our conqueror. The day they arrived, we died.
So yeah, that's the cover to the prequel novella that I'm writing and providing spot illustrations for. And so that covers everything from the initial attack to the ultimate fall of mankind to the creation of the plants that generate these androids. It covers all that stuff and who created all this stuff, you know, how they were able to pull it off. Like that's what this is all about.
Nice. Let me update this here. Sorry, I'm just updating. I'm doing a promotional tweet on this to remind everyone that this closes this Sunday
Oh, thank you, man.
to 15K.
Yeah, so we'll be open till Sunday midnight Pacific time, so that's like 3 a.m. on the East Coast. So there's a bit of time left. I'm pretty confident we can make up the last $390 at least. Hopefully, exceed that a little bit. But yeah, like we're like I said, the main art is done. I have to finish coloring the whole book now, and then we have to do pre-press, which could take a week or two. And then I am so looking forward to just getting this thing off to print and getting it back in my hands.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right. God's Fear Me is the first of 3 planned installments. It's 32 full color pages of sci-fi action and horror with Lovecraftian overtones, featuring stunning art by Christian Rossi, Alternus Trespasser, and Void Walker. Do you already have the stories already laid out for the other 2 books?
Yeah, and Christian has said that he wants to be on board for books 2 and 3.
Nice. That is sweet.
Yeah, this is one of those things where I have very rough outlines done for books 2 and 3, but I have specific plot beats that have been in my head for years now. Like I know what the very last shot of the story is. In book 2, I know what the main the climax of book 2 is. Like it's this horribly tragic moment that I think is genuinely going to freak people out, disgust people, and I'll be honest, I'm genuinely kind of worried about potentially losing a couple readers just because it's a guttural over the top thing that I got planned, man. But it's necessary, and I couldn't think of any other way to accomplish it. So that usually means that you have to do it,
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, that sounds pretty trippy. Let's see here. All right. Are the other 2 books expected to be 32 pages as well?
We'll have to see. To be honest with you, that's kind of dependent on a couple things. First and foremost, our backers' reception to the first book. I'm very much looking forward to feedback, and I want to know if people are happy with it. I hope that they will be, and I'm really confident in what we're going to be delivering, but I still need to hear from them. And it's also dependent on how well the Red Key does in late March, early April. If the Red Key exceeds expectations, that'll give us a bit of financial wiggle room to possibly pay Christian to do more than just 32 pages. I would like book 2 to be 48, but without increasing the funding goal for book 2 to like 10K, that would require some leftover funds to be able to be diverted to Christian and producing more pages. So it's dependent on a couple things. We'll see. Again, I'm really confident in all of those things, and that's one of the reasons why I'm working so hard to make the Red Key the biggest project that we've done thus far at Chibi Comics.
All right, nice. So in terms of stretch goals, the 8K level was unlocked. Training card by EVS. Damn.
Yeah.
2 postcards by Carl LaRoe for all physical backers. Out of curiosity, have you already gotten his trading card?
Not yet.
He finished it? All right. I was curious because he's like,
not yet.
He's really working hard on his Cyber Frog. And 2 postcards by Carlo Rowe. Nice.
And those are done. They're gorgeous.
I would expect no less. 10K full color interiors. Nice. So were you initially looking at it to be black and white?
Yeah. So, this was a really interesting sophomore project for us, coming out of Samurai and Dinosaurs, because my thinking was that I would just create a book that was kind of a la carte almost, like, so to speak. Meaning, hey, here's the base book. It's a 32-page black and white horror sci-fi cyberpunk book. If you want extra sides with that, well, like, that's where the stretch goals come in. And I think there's something to be said for that if you're a more established creator. But I think if you're, at the small to mid tier, like where we're at, I think people just want to see a complete product. And that's why, with Deepwell, we just structured it like, no, it's just going to be full color out the gate. It's going to have these 2 covers out the gate. But yeah, like, it was an interesting experiment, and I think my head was in the right place, but I think the readers were just like, no, we don't want to pay extra to get full color. We just want full color,
Gotcha. Now, when you first started seeing the work come in for your review and approval, did you think for some time that it would simply be perfect as a black and white book? Or did you think color would significantly enhance the finish?
Yeah, man. Like at the top, you can still see some of the black and white images as a preview images. I think the book would look incredible in black and white. And there were people, there weren't a lot of them, but there were some people who were kind of let down when we hit the full color stretch goal because they wanted it in black and white.
Yeah.
But all that means is, like, once we get done with the main 3 books and we can start packaging this story in different formats, like trades, maybe a hardcover. One of the things that we're thinking about doing is doing collected newsprint edition of it in black and white.
Oh, that would be neat. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's a very good idea.
So, yeah, give another 2 years. Give us another 2 years. Let us get done with books 2 and 3. And then, yeah, we'll just, as many versions of this story as people want, we're happy to produce.
Sweet. We got 12K, the Donald DeLay main cover unlocked. Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
So let me see something here. So Donald DeLay did one cover, Preston Acevedo did the other.
Yeah.
Was there ever a version that Rossi did?
No, just the agreement between me and Rossi was, hey, if we don't hit the Donald stretch goal, I'll just pay you extra to do a cover.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so the campaign launched with just Christian's first 3 pages of the book.
Oh,
there was no cover.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You revealed it later. I see.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you hit the 10,000 goal. Full color interiors.
Right.
Oh yeah, it's right here. Duh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're focused on 15, and I mean, look, by some miracle, if we were to hit 18K, I have no idea what that would mean for production, because Canales is in a completely different place now in terms of his workload. But it would probably have to be a thing of like, look, we're gonna ship out the main book, and me and Canales will work out something on the side, and when that book is done, we'll ship that to you at a later date.
Gotcha.
But again, like that's just like pie in the sky at this point. Like, I would be happy just to clear 10K and call it a day.
Right. Okay, that rhymed. Let's see.
Yep.
As you mentioned, the name of the book would be 13, which is a superhero horror story. Free second book featuring art by Ibe Canales. 20K, The Gods Fear Me gets higher paper quality. What is the paper weight on it now?
I mean, standard, I want to say it's like 80. This would have been an upgrade similar to like what Clint did with the Sweetcast books, or the Downcast books.
Is 80-pound basically higher quality and heavier than newsprint then?
Yeah, it holds the ink way more solidly than newsprint does. It's pretty close to like what the standard comic is these days.
All right. Okay, let's see. 22K, Simon Simpotier provides the main cover for 13. 25K, 13 gets full color interiors. 28K.
So yeah, originally 13 was going to be, that whole black and white newsprint thing, and it was going to have the look and feel of like an old EC comic.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
28K, higher paper quality. Actually, 25K, 13 gets full color interiors. 28K, 13 gets higher paper quality. 30K, 13 gets square binding. 33K, The Gods Fear Me cover poster unlocked. Wow. And then 35K, 13 cover poster unlocked for all backers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. All right. One's The Gods Fear Me and the other is 13. Sweet.
Right. Yeah.
Are you finding as you release more campaigns, it's getting much easier and easier to throw together a campaign on Indiegogo?
Yeah, again, everything's a learning process, right? Like I think at this point we know a lot of the do's and don'ts when it comes to launching a campaign. And I'm definitely going to be applying all of those to 13. I think, not 13, the Red Key. I think the strongest thing we have going for ourselves with the Red Key is that it's a superhero book, and that is something that a lot of people within CG have been asking for from us. So, yeah, I'm going to be putting all this knowledge to use when we launch that book.
Nice. So looking at the perks, you do have a feature tier, which I really appreciate. I love when creators offer a featured tier, because it's like the most bang for your buck. It's not going to be the cheapest tier. It's not going to be the most expensive tier. It's somewhere in the middle, and it typically means that you'll be getting a book. You might get a variant cover. You might get extra, a couple extras, maybe a sticker or a pin, a button, or as the UK calls them, a badge.
Yes.
This one, the swag bag, if I'm careful. All right.
There you go.
In addition to the book one and the prequel novella, you'll also get a trading card, 2 postcards, a poster of the cover, and a sticker. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have anything on the backs of the postcards? I mean, does it literally look like a postcard that you can mail off if you wanted to?
No, the postcards for both the swag bag and by Carl are going to have blank backgrounds.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
On a future campaign, if you do postcards again,
mm-hmm.
might I suggest, this is just an idea, and it's what a couple other campaigns have done. The one I'm thinking of, well, one of them was Ines Eskinder, who did Ava, and
Okay.
she had postcards, and what I liked about her cards is that on the back side, down below, it had nice, clean, sharp, what is it, formatting or presentation, and in the lower lower left, the kind of like fine lettering indicated the book it was from, what page the image on the front of the postcard is found on. Basically, kind of like a reference back to the page and whatnot.
Sure. Well, I mean, yeah, our postcards. I'm going to be sending off for the swag items, just like we did with Samurai. We go through a local printer. So that the postcards I don't have actually printed up yet. Like I could always go in and add that stuff. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really sweet idea. There's another campaign whose name escapes me, but they also did postcards, and on theirs, well, several campaigns did postcards, but one of the things I enjoyed about this other creator is that on the back, it looked like a legit postcard. It had the vertical line down the middle. It had a little space, a portrait-sized rectangle for a stamp if you wanted to literally use it to mail. And then it had what looked like a coffee stain on it.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So that was pretty trippy. If I did some
yeah, that's clever.
I could find it. Now, it also mentions a poster of the cover. How big a poster are we talking?
I'm still formatting that, or I should say debating that. I think we might go a little bit bigger than the posters that we did for Samurai and Dinosaurs. But I don't think it's going to be like a full size, like 17 by 24 poster, or, one of the larger ones, because that would require shipping out separately. And again, we like keeping everything contained within the Gemini mailer.
Right. Yeah, you can only go so big.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I would love with both, the Samurai cover and this cover by Donald. I would love for it to be like a giant wall-size poster, but I mean, that's
hell yeah, me too. I'm a huge fan of wall-size posters. Like I collect 24 by 36 movie posters.
Yeah. I like, all I can say is, with larger, more ambitious stuff like that, like give us another year or so to like keep building up the audience, and once we have more funds that we can divert to other side projects, that's totally something I want to invest in.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, that's understandable. It's a matter of building up your the company and the brand,
Right.
and first things first. You don't want to bite off more than you can chew too early
Right.
on. And I noticed on the majority of the ones that include a poster that will fit in the Gemini mailer, they
Mhm.
fold it in half. But I actually came across a campaign
Right. Right.
who folded it in thirds. So that was interesting.
Huh.
Um, I
Okay.
didn't compare that poster to another one to see if it was even necessary to fold it into thirds. Because I don't remember
Sure.
if it was literally bigger than the usual fold in half poster or not. But
Yeah, and I can't remember the term for the fold itself, but like I'm also looking into how feasible it would be to do what Richard, like, your boy, does on his, because his posters are slightly oversized, but the way they're folded, it's like a French fold or something like that. I'm forgetting the term. It's like folded in half and then folded a second time. So it's not quite in thirds, but it's like in half, and then that half is folded in half, and it's still small enough to fit within the Gemini mailer.
huh.
Yeah, like if you've ordered any of his stuff, like, like go look at um, the Shuri poster, or what's her name from Iron Sights, like those posters, like,
Oh, right. All right. I know what you're talking about. That's right.
yeah, yeah,
For jawbreakers and stuff, right?
yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Gotcha.
like we're looking into the feasibility of doing something maybe about that big.
All righty. Um, so that's the swag bag, the physical
Mhm.
book, the novella, and the swag, which is a trading card, two postcards, and a poster of the cover, and a sticker. Out of curiosity, are you going with Sticker Mule or another, maybe a local company?
It'll it'll probably be Sticker Mule. We've had good luck with them. Like Selena's been experimenting with them for like the better part of a year now. Like she manufactured
Oh,
some keychains through.
wow, nice.
Yeah, so we're probably going to go with them. I don't know if it's going to be a transparent sticker or not, but it'll probably be through Sticker Mule.
Cool. We got The Million Eyes of Our Conqueror, which is the digital prequel copy.
Yeah, so basically, call it like somewhere before like the 9 or 10 month mark. There were some backers who picked up the digital version, and they wrote in saying that they felt kind of cheated out of not being able to get the complete story. So, I went back and added this tier specifically. So, like, hey, if you were one of the people who just bought digital, like, now you can get the prequel digitally as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And
And
then,
so to simplify that, moving on to Deepwell, we just made our digital tier both books together.
all right. Man, these are hell of affordable. Only $40 for the swag bag, and the
Yeah.
digital only $8.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to go at a more premium price because, it's not a 48-page book, it's 32. Um, but we still wanted it to be more prestige formatted and more value for your buck than just a standard 22-page.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely. That makes sense.
Hmm.
Digital copy, $10. This is for the
Yep.
book itself, the main book, right? Let's see here,
Right. Right.
because that previous one was the prequel.
Right.
This is the digital copy of this main book that the campaign is based on, book 1.
Yes.
Then we get the single physical copy.
Mm-hmm.
$15. That's pretty affordable.
Yeah. Same rate that we went with for Deepwell.
Next, we have the Gods Fear Me, Preston Acevedo alt cover, physical copy, 15.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so regardless as to what cover you go for, it's going to be 15.
Right.
All right. Then we've got the physical and prequel novella. Okay. All right.
Yep. So if you want the complete story, but you don't necessarily want any of the swag items, like this is how you get the full thing.
Nice. So we got Peter Gilmore sketch cards.
Yeah. So, back when back when I thought that we were going to be going to press around like July-ish, we had a whole bunch of friends come out and rally and help us like do what I thought at the time was going to be one final push. And yeah, like there are still some of them left on the campaign, like Peter here and Vic King contributed. A whole bunch of artists contributed sketch cards that we sold, on their own.
Yeah, Peter's pretty cool. 2 out of 3 claimed so far. So only one more left.
Yep.
Are you distributing these in the order that you see them here, or are you like giving the people who back it, like the first person who backed, they get first dibs on which image they want, and then the second,
Yeah, I mean,
then the third.
Right. Logistically, that would have been like really hard to keep up with. Like I would have had to like start like writing names on like stick-it notes and putting them on the cards, for like later on when we went to fulfillment. So I make it clear when you back one of these cards that it's, either in order, like first come, first serve, or it may end up being randomized.
Yep,
So people know that going into it.
absolutely. Yeah, that's another way to put it, randomized.
Right.
Then we've got the Vic King sketch cards, and there's only 2 more of these. So if you're interested in any sketch cards, definitely consider getting them because these are good prices here. And then we got Passion for Drawing sketch cards. Only 2 remain. I'm just kind of checking out these sketch cards.
Yeah.
Man, you got a lot of talent on this project.
I know a lot of really great, talented people, man, and I'm grateful for all their help.
Here's Sims stretch. Man, I keep calling it stretch. Sims sketch cards. All right. And
Yeah.
there's only 1 remaining here.
Mhm.
So don't miss out on these sketch card tiers. Okay, all right. That's a helmet. The international exclusive. 2 of them claimed so far. So let's see what this.
Yeah. So basically, with the international exclusive, and we streamlined this a bit with Deepwell. It's that whole thing of like, hey, if you know someone overseas and both of you want to back this book, one of you can place an order for this, and I'll knock the cost off of the shipping, so it'll save both of you money on shipping. And it'll save me money on shipping. But the way I simplified it in Deepwell is I'm like 2 for the price of 1 in terms of shipping, because it basically broke down to the same thing.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. You even pointed out that I know U.S. shipping is possible. Couldn't figure out how to exclude America, so I listed it as regular shipping. Guess you could use it this if you want 2 copies in each of the U.S. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are tiers like that I'll decide to back, simply because it's offered or available to U.S. residents as well, and it just is too good a deal to pass up.
Exactly.
Oh, you gotta support the troops tier. Nice.
Yep. As always.
Operation Paperback. That's cool. You'll get 2 copies of the book, 2 copies of book 1, and the U.S. military will get 3 copies.
Mm-hmm.
Shipping limited to the U.S. and is included in price. 2 to you, 3 to troops. That's pretty sweet. For 110. So that's like getting 5 books. Well, 2 for you and 3 for them.
Yeah.
110. Then we get you got retailers here. For shop owners and collectors. 10 copies, 10 physical copies of book 1.
Mm-hmm.
Limited to U.S. shipping, included in the price. So that's 10 physical copies.
Yeah, and I get, like, I think even on like one of the other streams that we've done, like I've talked about this. I'm open to working with retailers, and I wrote to as many as I could, get their contact info for, and it's that thing of like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I think especially after 2020. I think there are a lot of retailers that are going to start reassessing their policies on not associating with CG and CG adjacent creators, because like I think they're quickly going to find themselves without a ton of product to be selling in their stores.
Yeah, that's a fact. I mean, it's already in the tea leaves, you might say.
Yeah,
They're
I mean,
already scaling back their book lines.
right. Yeah, 34 titles from DC in March. That's great.
Yeah. It's like, good golly, they're doing what they can to survive,
Mm-hmm.
except trying to release books that people want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to keep keep shop owners and collectors in your mind. Get drawn into it. Book 1, 2 of 8 claimed.
Yeah, and at this point, I hope no one backs it, because the book's done, so I can't really add anyone else.
Is there a way from the back end of Indiegogo to like mark this as like grayed out or something?
No, once a tier sells, it has to stay listed on the campaign page.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Page 1 original art, 350. Now, is this literally the first page of the book, or is it just one of the pages that is available for sale?
It's literally page 1.
Oh, geez, all right. That's cool.
Yeah, man.
Let's see here. And then we've got page 2.
Mm-hmm.
Following up here. So there's obviously one of each available at $3.50 each. And then here's one of the parts that I think is pretty fun because it is a visual reminder of what I missed out on and for so we got the Joe Ball sketch cards. Ooh, cool.
Yeah, those all sold real quick, man.
Yeah, people like Joe Ball's work.
Yeah, man.
For a good reason. Oh, Mandy Summer sketch cards too.
Yep, and those sold real quick.
Yeah, people love Mandy. The novella cover original art sold out too.
Yeah, I was grateful.
Sweet. The Preston Acevedo pinup art also sold out.
That sold within like 2 hours, man.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that, Preston's going places.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and that's why, I locked him down as quick as I could. I was like, dude, like I want you to be like our main alternate cover artist as long as you're happy to work with us.
That was a smart move. He is that, yeah. That's good stuff. Page 3 original art. Oh wow, that already sold. Yeah, I can see why. This is a cool looking cover. I mean, this is a cool looking page.
Yeah, that's our first real shot of the Puppet King. So, yeah, I was happy to see that one go.
Nice. Yeah, that's a cool looking one. you got your schemes and scam special sold. Nice.
Yeah, that's where it started, man.
Does it sell? Oh, this campaign is where it started? The whole
this was the first campaign where we had the $872 tier.
Oh, nice. For those of you, for those in the audience, would you mind, recapping how this came to be? How you created this $872 USD tier?
Sure. I mean, long story short, like, there have been people over the past year or two that have come and gone from CG. One of whom in particular was associated with Indie at one point, and basically me and him had somewhat of a falling out once some like honest discussion about like what that platform was at that time, at least, was, and who was and wasn't allowed on it. And this person basically hung $872 over my head like a sword, basically saying, if you step away from this platform, you're going to be losing out on money like this. Which again, like, don't tell me what to do, because then I'll make it happen regardless. So as soon as, I removed myself from that person and that platform, I was like, okay, well, I guess forever and ever I'm going to have a tier that's listed as $802. So this was our first time. I was so happy.
Forever and ever. That's such a good idea. That's funny.
And man. So yeah, just like Deepwell, it comes with everything associated with the campaign. Plus, you're going to be getting a proof copy of the main book. You'll be getting an 11 by 17 illustration drawn by me, painted by Selena, and the person who backed this will be getting the very last page of the book, the physical art for it.
Oh, right. Oh man, how cool is that? I forgot to check back on it, but did the $872 tier on Deepwell sell?
No, not yet. That's still available, but we're going to be shutting down Deepwell probably end of February, beginning of March. So there's still time, and I'm certainly going to be pushing for it.
Yeah. Everybody keep that in mind if you want to get that cool tier. That's where it's at.
Absolutely.
Let's go back here. Let's play the trailer once more, and then we can wrap up.
Sounds like a plan to me, man.
Sweet. When let's see. When the swag bag references a sticker, is that something that you can divulge what's on the sticker, or is it like a surprise?
No, I can go into it. We're still, to be honest, that's one of the things Selena's helping me out with, and we're still playing around with the design of it. It's going to be the logo for the company that manufactures the cryostasis cities that the remnants of humanity are asleep in, and they're also the same company that have created and manufacture the androids. So basically, they're, for like horror movie fans, they're our stand-in for Wayland Yutani from Aliens.
All right, nice. That's a great idea, actually.
Thanks. Yeah, so it's going to be like this really cool looking corporate logo.
Fantastic. Hey, welcome, Daniel. Good to have you. Hail.
Hey, Daniel.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I like that idea. Yeah, that is good. Let's do a refresh and see if by chance or by some stroke of luck we got some progress. Oh, darn it. All right. Never can tell. But yeah, let's try and get this to 15K people. It's still doable. We've got through this Sunday 12 midnight Pacific, which is 3 a.m. Eastern.
Hmm.
Sunday, well, technically Monday for the East Coast.
Right.
So are you guys, how are you guys gonna like do some fanfare when you do your closeout? Or like, are you gonna go on someone's stream, or are you gonna do it on your own channel?
Yeah, I'm still working it out. I have streams planned out for Thursday and Friday so far. I'm still looking into tomorrow and Saturday. And yeah, I'm talking with a few people about Sunday itself. If someone's gracious enough to have me on that late at night, I'll be happy to hang out with them. And if those plans fall through, I'll probably just do like a late night stream on my channel.
Oh. Um, I'm trying to think of Sunday. Um, assuming, I'm not technically going to know what my schedule is until this Thursday, but assuming my schedule follows the same pattern as what my work has been previously, I could technically probably be available around 10 p.m. through 3 a.m. Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got something. So I'll throw my hat in the ring.
All right.
So if interested, DM me. Let me see. There was also another campaign that's going to be closing soon. What day was theirs though? Let me see if I can find out real quick. Oh, they're doing theirs Friday. They're doing their closeout Friday.
Okay.
So yeah, my Sunday is free. If you're at all interested,
Sure.
let me actually see something here. Yeah, here. Doop 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 doop.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I figure probably towards like Friday-ish, I can drop you a line and let you know what's going on, like more concrete.
Okay, right on. Yeah, the last couple of weeks, I got off work at 8 p.m. on a Sunday, meaning I get home roughly 9 p.m. So maybe 9-10 p.m. through the close. Yeah, just let me know if you're interested. If you find a bigger channel, by all means go for that. But
Sure.
I'll throw my head.
We'll touch base then. Thank you.
Sounds good. Awesome. Yeah, so everybody check this out. God's Fear Me Book 1 looks really, really cool. Awesome tiers. There's even some sketch cards available still. We are so close. $390, right? If I'm doing the math.
Yeah.
To hit
$390.
Yeah. Almost there to hit 15K. If we hit 15K, it goes from being a staple floppy to a perfect bound book. And that would be really sweet to hit. I'm really digging these perfect bound books that I'm getting from CG.
Yeah, I mean it's my personal preference. I mean, I love comics, but I'm more of a trade guy, so I like stuff that can go right up on my shelf. It's just
me too. Yeah, me too. I'm finally setting aside, I'm pulling some old computer books off my bookcase shelves and starting to replace them with ComicsGate books.
Right.
Did you happen to have any other updates or anything else you wanted to mention regarding God's Fear Me before we close out?
I mean, right now, not off the top of my head. You know, towards I think Monday or Tuesday of next week, I'll be doing updates on all of our campaigns. So,
Oh, cool.
yeah, like I'm gonna show people maybe a panel or two from the last 4 pages of God's Fear Me, but that's all I can really show them.
Ooh.
Um, there'll be another couple pages posted to the Deepwell campaign, and hopefully by the end of this month, if not the start of February, we can have that pre-launch page open for Red Key.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, so
Sounds pretty
fingers
cool.
crossed.
Right on, right on. All right. So I'm going to give you the floor.
Okay.
Please share with the world how you can be found on social media.
Sure. So as always, you can find me on Twitter at chibi_Mike, and also give me a follow on YouTube at the Chibi Mike, all one word. So right now, what I'm focused on in 2021 is building up my YouTube follower base. I'm going to be wrapping up a playthrough of Ghost of Tsushima called Samurai Minus Dinosaurs, and then we'll look into another. Then we'll look into another game that we can stream. I haven't quite made up my mind yet on that one. I do a show called CG One-on-One every Sunday where I sit down for an hour-long conversation with another creator. And at some point this year, I'm going to be getting a promotional show off the ground as well. So all stuff that you're going to want to be for, and we hope that you'll sign up, today. And also, if you haven't already backed the God's Fear.Me, please consider it. It's 32 pages of the best horror, sci-fi, cyberpunk action you're likely to see from any book in CG this year, and we've put our hearts and souls into it, and I know you're going to love it. So thanks, everybody, for hanging out.
Fantastic. So you can find me on Facebook and YouTube under WyzGyz Entertainment. You can catch me on Twitter at WyzGyz Tweets, on Twitch at WyzGyz Twitches. Please like, comment, subscribe, mark the bell for notifications, indicate all notifications in the hope that YouTube will actually notify you. I want to thank everyone in the chat for joining us today. You guys are awesome. Thanks to everyone who watches this on replay. And thanks again to our very special guest, Mike Murphy, who resides in Deepwell.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to hang out, man. Thanks for having me on.
It's always a blast to have you too. All right, let's close it out. Take care, guys. Have a good one. I've got 2 or 3 streams every day for the next several days. Promoting
Busy
CG.
Man.
Yep. Take it easy, y'all.
Final guest
Later.
is the only person below White Holiday in the ComicsGate phone book. It's my favorite failed clone of Peter Sammetti. The YouTube WyzGyz. How you doing, Conrad? Welcome to the show.